Ligers, Celtic Ligers, Celtic Ligers, Celtic Ligers, Celtic Ligers, Celtic.
All right, hello, this is Gareth nipping in really quickly at the start. Just before we recorded, we recorded this episode, Katherine ZaPWND turned down the position. So, not that it really matters. We still cover kind of roughly the same shit that we would have covered anyway. Additionally, Ivana Bacik was found to be at the thing. The 50-person event that she organised 6 days before she was announced. Just a big bash flying in from New York to have a bash in the Marion Hotel with some of her best friends, Ivana Bacik and Leo Varadkar. And maybe Michael McDowell was there. We don't know. All of her mates. All the stars are out. It's like Space Jam and New Legacy, but for shitheads. That'll only become clear once you've heard the rest of the episode. But it was very funny when I thought that up now. But anyway, just to cover that one before we got going. I don't know. It doesn't change the context of what we said. It's just, it annoyed me that we were talking about it without this bit of information. So take this episode and enjoy.
Okay, you thank whoever you're thanking. I'm going to watch Porky Pig Rap.
Oh yeah, so I went to see Space Jam: A New Legacy, and I was telling James about it, and apparently they decided now would be the time to have Porky Pig Rap. So that we see Porky Pig Rap not in the mid-90s
I'm going to meet
Space
you.
Jam. Okay. But in fact in the 2021 Space Jam. And should you see it? No, you should not. Just look up the Rick and Morty cameo, which is incredibly embarrassing. And yeah, thank you, Michael Reardon. I wanted to get your last name for help on sound and advice and stuff. And I didn't do that the last week. Sorry, James is muted. What are my other observations about the Space Jam movie? Tell me when you're back, James. Oh, God. I was just talking about how basically you have Ready Player One, the Lego movie. You have Lego Batman movie, which had multiple properties as well. And then you have Scoob, which was released, which had all the Hanna-Barbera characters. Now you have Space Jam, A New Legacy, and that's 5 films, which are just these kind of let's trot out all the shit that we own, and okay, and here, look, we own it, and I was just explaining the Space Jam movie.
I was just thinking, have you ever heard that thing about the Muppets Christmas Carol where your man Michael Caine,
yeah,
he's like, you know, he's a good actor because he's acting like the Muppets are real.
yeah.
You know, like he... And it's just, I'm watching like Don Cheadle's face.
Oh.
And he's like, acting like Porky Pig's real. Like, I watch rap battles and he's like getting angry and like pretending to laugh when he's actually really pissed off.
I love it. The thing about Don Cheadle, the one thing that kind of pissed me off, like, I mean, the whole movie is a cynical cash-in. Who gives a shit? I mean, obviously, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
But the thing that really bugged me is in the first Space Jam, Danny DeVito plays, like, an alien basketball manager or theme park owner.
Yeah.
And he's a fully animated character. And I was like, okay. And in this one, they have, like, Don Cheadle plays a character called Algae Rhythm, okay? Who is a sentient algorithm in the serververse, okay?
That's coincidence.
Yeah. And the serververse, they keep going, oh, the serververse, it has everything you can possibly imagine. Harry Potter, Casablanca,
Trinity,
and
Slow-Mo Granny.
Slow-Mo Granny in The Matrix. And anyway... Moving on. So anyway, but like, there's a bit in it where LeBron is being pitched the idea, and here's the thing that's funny: they pitch him the idea that was in 30 Rock of Seinfeld vision. Do you know, where they go like, "What if we just digitally put you into every single property that we have in the server?" Okay.
Yeah.
And he's like, "This is some tacky shit, and I hate it, and it's crap." Okay.
Who's in this?
LeBron James in the movie. And this is stupid, and everybody hates it.
Who pitches him this?
the Warner Brothers studio pitches him it in the movie.
In the movie.
Yeah.
In the serververse.
No. So he goes into Warner Brothers like, we got an idea to pitch you, and they're
he's like, this is stupid.
This is stupid and this is lame. And then he is looking for his son, and he gets lost in the servers, and then he gets sucked off by the algorithm, and. But anyway, this is such a stupid small point, but I didn't see anybody else saying it, so I'm going to say it. But I thought in the pitch that they're pitching to him, the algorithm is animated in 2D for whatever 2D digital animation, okay? And it's like a silhouette of Don Cheadle, and I thought, oh, that's interesting.
Hey,
and I
LeBron, you're very good at turning me on.
But I really wanted, like, can't he just be animated for the whole thing? Because what they do is they're like, who cares? Let's put Don Cheadle in some suit, and it's painted silver because I guess he's a computer. You know, like it's so lazy. It's just like it's cheap in ways that you're just like, it really didn't need to be cheap in this way. Really, surely, you know.
I know.
It's just how little they give a shit about you. It's like, here's what we own, slap it together. You'll like that, don't you? Like fucking Foghorn Leghorn as Daenerys Targaryen, you little fucking dickheads.
Yeah. Is he the chicken?
Yeah, he's the rooster, and he genuinely is Daenerys Targaryen in one bit, flying on top of a dragon.
Why isn't he the dragon?
I mean, the whole movie, it would be great if somebody was like, put a bunch of writers in a room and was like, here are the Looney Tunes, think about the properties we own, try to figure out how they could be kind of put into them, and it would make it funny, okay?
Yeah.
And they just like couldn't. Clearly that didn't happen. I don't know who they got.
Okay,
like maybe some
here's my
executive or
pitch.
something. Yeah,
The Jetsons,
yeah,
are they in it?
they are.
And they're doing slow-mo.
In the
well.
Matrix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the robot is... the robot's not there anymore.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense, because obviously there's no robots in the Matrix. It's all computers.
It's all algorithms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're starting off goofy, all right? Let's keep it apolitical with another amazing thing that I found this week. I just want to tell you this one because it's fun, okay?
I love fun.
All right. I typed into DAF to see, like, what are the places that are going for under €400 in Ireland right now, okay?
In the entirety of Ireland.
In the entirety of Ireland, exactly.
Right.
And so I found a bunch of them, but here's one I found, and it's in Kilmainham for €400, and the room is actually really big, okay? And I was like, oh, this is curious.
Yeah,
and,
very curious.
Very curious. And it, like, I have no reason to believe that you're not just... You're not getting what the picture entails, but like when I read
That's
the thing,
I'd be like, the picture entails what I'm getting.
Yeah, I don't know why I said it that way, but like I read the description, and it's just like, you're really working for that rent, okay? Mm-hmm. So here's the description. It's quite long, but I found it very funny. All right, males only wanted. We are currently 5 (brackets 4 girls, 1 guy), so we're looking for 2 guys to balance it out. Girls will not be contacted for viewings, close brackets. We are currently 5 people living in the house, looking for 2 new housemates. We each have our own bedroom, and there are 2 showers, 2 toilets, a sitting room, a large kitchen, blah, 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 blah. We are all outgoing and open-minded people with different backgrounds, interests, and work. Some of us are currently working from home during the day. We have all become friends by living together. We watch TV and movies together, or cook and hang out in the kitchen. So we'd really like people who move in that enjoy spending time with us too, and do not just disappear into their room. Needless to say, being tidy, clean, responsible, and respectful is very important in a big household like ours. I'm just going to skip past some of the descriptions of the place.
Are there any descriptors of the people?
No, but here we go. If you're interested, please write about yourself in detail, what you enjoy, just so we can get an idea about the person that wants to live with us. Also, please include the words rainbow and unicorn into your email. If you fail to include these little requirements, you will not hear back from us. Easy peasy, smiley face.
just to be like, just show you read the whole thing, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I guess once I read those, I was just like, I thought that they were like, I mean, it does. It just betrays like somebody who's like rando. Do you know, we're all random here and we all want to be friends. So don't retreat to your room. You have to come down and watch Coco and make fucking, you know, fajitas with us.
I was going to be like, it's a, you know, polyamorous thing. But then when I got to the word unicorn, I was like, they're all asexual.
Yeah. But I just found it funny because I was thinking about how, like, you know, it'd be like, if you like working in Facebook, why don't you live in Facebook?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like this idea of now we are all, like I was telling you about some of my experiences with people where it's like, you know, I'm just saying I don't have to renew your lease if we're not getting along. I mean, it's no big deal. We're all having fun here. You know, this is a crazy house. This is fun house, you know? But it's like, we're all becoming like these, we're all being deputized as like little landlords. And now all the people are becoming like the Facebook happy corporate, whatever. So now it's like, it's creating this new thing I'm seeing on Daft where it's like, well, what can you do for me? How can you entertain me? How can you be my friend? How can we, you know, have fun together and go on bike rides like I see on Instagram posts from other people I know? Do you know, it's like,
Yeah.
I was like, I can't just live in the fucking house. Now I have to, you know, I have to provide you with my top 5 favorite movies. And, you know, I just, this one was the most depressing because it's like,
Yeah,
it's not even
sad, like.
It's not even a corporation. It's not even your landlord. It's like the people you live with now are the ones who are in charge of making sure that you're thinking happy thoughts all the time.
Yeah. Well, I think those people have just particularly bought in to being happy. You know what I mean? Like, there were people who think that you should never be sad. Whereas in fact, you should always be sad and never be happy.
I agree.
I think that if you're sad, you're smart. And if you're happy, you're dumb.
As Stephen Moffat once wrote in the episode Blink for Doctor Who,
Yeah.
sadness is just happiness for deep people.
Sadness is happiness for deep people.
Let me look up if I have that right.
Sending a tweet here. Thought this was a... What do you call the thing that the baby's in when they take the picture of the baby?
A bassinet? A cradle?
No. Like the thing. An ultrasound.
An ultrasound, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just sad is just happy for deep people.
What?
Sad is happy for deep people.
Yeah,
over
that's
an ultrasound.
Ultra deep.
Oh yeah, but also the other part about it is like, you know...
Look at the
do you
tweet I sent. I think you'll like it.
Okay, I'll look it up.
It's not political.
Twitter.com and...
/ tweet.
James
Reference tweet.
Morin. But the thing I remember when we were reading your man Brophy, who was the advisor to Pascal Donahue, okay? And he was like... I was talking about... thought this was an ultrasound...
Can you imagine if that
It took me a second because it is really it's a creepy photo, but then the idea of having a baby that with hair just staring back at you. But anyhow, he was talking about the idea of like a transient population who are bringing all of their cultures here, and it's like, well, all the culture has just become the one culture because now it's like we're all epic bacon Reddit people who are living in, you know, houses now where we also have to show our credentials as epic Reddit bacon people. Otherwise, we can't live there.
Yeah,
we have to say epic unicorn party, whatever. Otherwise, you won't even get a message back about a fucking house to have over your head.
Because when you turn up for those jobs, they'll be like, why do you believe in this company?
Yeah.
And then some people actually do believe. They'll be like, I think this algorithm to, you know, deliver pizzas twice as fast is going to change the world or something like that.
Yeah. I remember there was a girl I dated from America. It's relevant. But anyway, her brother was going for a job at a Best Buy over there. And he made it down to like the 2 final candidates. And the reason people wanted to work in Best Buy is because you get there's quite a substantial employee discount apparently on stuff. So they're very excited. So anyway, they got down to got down to the last two, and then they were asked, would you take a bullet for the store? And he was like, no. And the other guy was like, yes. And they were like, gave him the job, obviously.
Yeah.
In America. Whereas over here, I was talking to another guy I knew who worked in an Extravision, and they asked him, like, what would you do if somebody brought a knife into the Extravision? He's like, I would give him everything in the till. And the Extravision were like, that is the correct answer. Like,
Yeah.
do you know, it's like, so here it's like, just whatever, like, give it over. You know what I mean? Like, employees say, it's not anymore. I don't think that would be the case anymore. I think a lot
Facebook
of American stuff
like,
has come in. You know,
would you jump on a live grenade now?
For Mark Zuckerberg? Yeah,
like, well, not even. It's just
not
like,
even.
Would you jump in front of traffic
Yeah.
if we wanted you to? Because that's like some people's job. It's just like, will you look at these horrific images all day, every day, so we don't get in trouble with the government? You know?
Yeah. I just got a message on WhatsApp because basically it was a writing for young. No, it was a writing for young people, and there's a group thing, and it says somebody goes, "Hope you're having a good summer." Screen Ireland have been in contact, I think, or SSI. Yeah, there must be. Yeah, Screen Skills Ireland have been in contacted by an animation company who are seeking diverse applicants for writing positions. If you might be interested or know anyone who might be interested, so people are like, "Oh, thanks very much." And then I just I put this out there and then immediately regretted it. Okay, so I wrote.
Try to skewer it.
Yeah, I went, looks like it's time for this straight white male to finally be heard, do you know? And then I was like, I should really delete that.
That's funny.
But anyway, somebody's it's funny when you write stuff like this, and it's like, it just always relies on the person knowing that you don't actually believe this. Mm-hmm. And then when you put it, it's a real dangerous thing to put it into a group chat with these people, because already they're just like, was this person wrote piss text this early, Gareth, and then has that emoji with the stroke chin emoji.
Yeah, kill yourself.
Yeah,
that guy should kill himself.
Yeah, well, I thought it was. It's stupid. It's only funny because of the context by which it is. Because it's somebody from Screen Skills Ireland, and it's like, clearly you don't give a shit about your job if you're just going like, the bloody feminazis are at it again. Anyway, just joking, you know.
Yeah. You should have been like, you know, I think this sort of stuff is racist in a different way. Yeah. And then you'd be like, no, I don't think that. That's the joke. Did you get my thing about the Elon Musk picture?
Which one?
Check your WhatsApp.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were sending me the ultrasound one. No,
after you'd already seen it.
Yeah, sorry. That's a great photo of him, to be honest. It's so funny.
I've never seen it before.
Really? Yeah, no, I've seen it. It comes up every now and again because the kind of Elon Musk fans really hate it because it kind of undermines. Like, he'll be like, he's the genius of our time, and then you share that photo, and it's like, it's like, you can't say that. It's the one, by the way, if anybody's curious, where he's like got a long leather jacket. And it's got like a million little
it's like a leather marching jacket.
Yeah. And then he has like, his fringe is like really long and kind of curls around his face and frames it, and it's kind of clearly he's got like a ponytail kind of behind him. So and he's standing next to one of those French Liberty posters, and it kind of looks like he's trying to be adamant, but he looks like an idiot.
Here's something interesting.
Yeah.
So there's this. Let me get all the relevant info up. There's this festival on at the moment in town, right? And it's called like the Dublin. Let me get it up. Keys Festival or something like that. And it's like these Dublin Keys Festival, right? And the idea is that it's like a few of the venues along the Liffey in Dublin. Are putting on, you know, COVID safe events. Right?
Yeah.
Anyway, and like whenever you look through the thing, they're like, thank you, Minister for Culture, for helping us with all this stuff, you know? So like the Minister for Culture, whoever that is that Catherine Martin or someone?
Yeah.
So they're tagging like the Department of Culture and Tourism and all this sort of stuff. Anyway, today or yesterday they sent out an email being like, and they've just put it up on their Twitter. Dublin Quays Festival, we regret to announce that due to recent government guidelines on live music indoors, there will be no audiences allowed at our shows. Tickets will be refunded. And it's like, what guidelines have changed?
Yeah.
So, it's like the Minister for Culture was involved in setting this up. There's probably an Arts Council funded organising crew.
Yeah.
Setting this up. The day before it starts, they're like, due to COVID guidelines, we're not allowed to run this. What happened there? Like,
it's obviously like the government is incredibly dysfunctional, obviously. But the other thing that I've seen is a lot of people just going, all right, all in on these restrictions being lowered by the time that this happens. And then the day before, they're like, well, that one came up short.
But,
you know?
Yeah, so
like,
were they waiting for the restrictions to be lowered and then they weren't?
Yeah, because they were like, we have to plan ahead. Because I think the reason I was thinking about it today is because with the whole ZaPWND thing, which we should definitely get to, Katherine ZaPWND. But the latest that's come out is that she booked a hotel for 50 people. And a lot of people are saying, like, 50 people, is that not against the COVID guidelines? And it turns out, no, it's not, you know?
Yeah.
Or maybe it is, but on a technicality because it's not the right type of event. And, you know, there's all these other things that are factoring into it. But ultimately, it's like, how many people would go to that concert on the Quays? Probably like, I don't know, a few hundred or something.
I don't know. Like, well, this is it. I don't know. Like, how many tickets were they putting up?
But then that's it, because it's like, I don't think you're allowed to do events over a certain amount of numbers. And then it's like, okay, we're going to plan ahead. We'll have this set up. And then we just have to hope beyond hope that COVID cases go in the right direction. And then the restrictions get lowered. And then that's not happened. So what I think is that it's not that they planned with the current numbers in mind. They planned with future numbers in mind. And it's like, this is so haphazard and stupid.
Yeah, it's just wild to be like, I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot of people who took that gig, but they wouldn't have taken it if it was just recording in an empty room. Do you know what I mean? Because now they're being like, oh, just live stream it.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot of bands who are just like, fuck that. No one watches those things, you know? It's just mad that it's like, even on such a small scale, the government can't even organise like 4 or 5 gigs. You know what I mean? And then just to be like, no, it's the guidelines.
Yeah.
As opposed to it's just hard for me to see. Yeah, they just been like, the guidelines haven't changed, so that's why this can't go ahead. Yeah. And in that case, they knew that before yesterday. Yeah. Like, if the COVID cases drop dramatically today, the guidelines still wouldn't change. Because there's a lag, exactly. You know what I mean?
So I have no idea how that came about then, or like, I mean, it's just the same old shit, isn't it? Oh, nobody's talking to each other. Essentially, nobody. Yeah. Like, not in the parties to each other, not in the government. You know, between parties, and then it's the Wild West. They just don't give a fuck. I don't know what the deal is. Are people kind of like, either they think that nothing can happen to them, which they're correct about, or they want to destabilize things enough so that they can kind of force some sort of, I don't know. It's exhausting. It's exhausting, but you know, the thing that's been most frustrating about this podcast is starting it just as COVID kicked off. Okay. Because, like, you know, we're kind of observing politics for a certain time, and you kind of get the idea, the lay of the land from certain parties and certain people and certain habits. And then when COVID happens, it's like, it's this weird, confusing mess where nobody quite knows what's going on. And to try and think, like, what's their angle? What are they trying to get out of this? It's like, sometimes you just realize, well, maybe there's no angle. Maybe they're just like, it's just this absolute pandemonium of ineptitude and people not knowing what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah.
And that's also kind of scary. Like, it's just this feeling of like this could go on a while longer, and you really want a steady hand at the wheel. And I think we talked about this on the previous episode, but the thing that kind of is epitomizes the whole experience of COVID is when they said that masks were useless because we didn't have enough masks.
Yeah, it's like they pretended like masks weren't useful because they encourage risky behavior, so no one should wear them.
Because then they were like, yeah, because they didn't have enough of them, and then they did have it. It's like, oh, it turns out masks are like the only way to stop this. You're like, well, that's great.
Yeah,
so
that's my argument about condoms.
I just dropped another risque message into the Writing for Young People group chat.
Yeah, you're like, I identify as black. So
yeah,
where's my diversity training? You know? Where's my workshop?
So she goes, piss text this early, Gareth, and I go, it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Right. That's not all that edgy.
That's edgy. That means that I'm not retracting what I'm saying. But I want to go and say I don't believe what I wrote. That's a joke, obviously.
You just say that. Yeah. Say, obviously I'm joking. I think this is great. Great for people like me who identify
as an attack helicopter.
As an attack helicopter.
I say
the most diverse of all, Allah's creatures. Just do a voice message. Hold
that's true.
The phone up to the earphone, and I'll just speak for you.
Maybe I'll just get kicked out of the group chat. It wouldn't be the fucking worst thing in the world. I'm kind of getting fed up. Like, at the moment, I got an email for something yesterday, and I almost went and did it. It was
what was the email?
Well, we got an email from our accountant, and it was like, here's how much your accountant bill costs. And I was like, just having a moment where it's like, I feel awful. Just seeing how much an accountant costs is like, it's like that's what it costs. Well, our accountant costs, to put our business out there, about should I say this? Will this just reveal how much? Whatever, it costs about €933.
Fuck off.
I know, and we're just like, God damn. I mean, that's what it costs, but it's just this feeling of like, fucking hell. Like, I hate this. I hate, like, what am I supposed to do? I don't have any money. Like, we're going to figure it out, but it's just this, like, never end. That's what had me on daft looking up places, and then I saw that property. I was like, fucking hell. It's like, not only are you not able to afford to live anywhere, now you're just kind of under the thumb of a bunch of assholes. But, this email came in. Where is it? Again from, God, where the fuck is it? I was reading it out to my dad, and his face went just, because I thought we'd have a laugh reading it, but he just went deadly quiet. He's just like, right, just like, this is very depressing. Have you ever seen Observe and Report?
No.
It's kind of, it's a tough watch. I think if Danny McBride is in it, it would have been a lot better. But it's like an Eastbound and Down type film, but it's about like a mall cop, you know.
Oh, is that the one with Seth Rogen?
Yeah, exactly. But here we go. So anyway, there's a bit in it where like the guy who like bullies him is like telling him that he can't be a cop, and like just destroying his dreams. And but in the cupboard, he's like got his mate. He's like, stay in the cupboard, watch me destroy this guy's dreams. You know, it'll be a laugh. You know.
Yeah.
And so you can hear Seth Rogen discover he won't be a cop, and he's like just crushed. You know.
Yeah.
And then the door of like the cupboard opens, and this guy walks out, and he's like, I thought this would be funny, but it's actually kind of sad. And he walks out of the room, and it's just, that was the feeling with my dad, just like reading him this thing. So, because I was like, somebody save me, give me a fucking life raft, you know. And it says management skills for growing animation, VFX, and game studios. €150 online course from September to November. And the breakdown of it is leadership skills / emotional intelligence, conflict management, planning time management, managing remote workers, people management 1, people management 2, retention, engagement and morale, the art of asking the right questions. Now, a lot of these to me are pretty much the same thing, okay?
Yeah,
But then the other thing about it is, like, there are about 2 or 3 people in our company, do you know?
Yeah.
So the idea of, like, how do you manage remote workers? Not a problem. I've been remote my entire career. It's really not that big a deal, do you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And then you're like, conflict management. It's like, we're talking about 3 people. It's not really entirely applicable to small studios. Leadership skills, just made up. That doesn't mean anything. Emotional intelligence, I don't know, I guess I just find it very depressing when you have to teach people emotional intelligence, but it's organized by like a HR group, so I guess why not, you know? But the whole thing is like, this is just a make work scheme for my friend who decided that he wanted to be a life coach, but also had one foot in animation. So now they just tell you stuff like, you know, shared risk, shared reward. Now, let's, you know, to be clear, shared reward doesn't necessarily mean financial reward. This is something that somebody told me at one of these courses. And stuff like this, where he's like, you just pat somebody on the back and say, good job. And sometimes that can just be enough, you know?
Yeah.
And then as a small company, you're constantly scolded for like kind of saying, you have to take the jobs that you think that you're worth. And then you know, as in like, you can't be undercharging for the company that you are. But then every single time I've worked for those companies who are saying that, they always charge me much less than I think that I'm worth. It's like they would pay me much less than I think I'm worth. And so anyway, it's just one of those feelings where it's like nobody's coming, everything's fucked. I hate this, and we live in this like this kind of professional class world, which also just doesn't fit well with Ireland at all. Like the stuff that they're talking about.
So what was your dad's reaction? What do you think he was thinking?
Just like, I guess there's no way out, you know? I had this feeling my dad was thinking like, fuck, this guy is going to be sponging off me forever. No, I don't think, my dad's not like that, but like, this is me projecting, where it's this feeling where it's like, you know, we were talking about like Jobs Bridge 2 coming back, and it's like, I think one thing that he said was like, man, you're pretty unlucky. Like, you just can't get a break. Because he was talking about basically living through 2 recessions. And like every single time that I do something that's just about to make it, it's just like, no, it's fine. It's fucked, you know? It's like, oh, he's like, have a TV show on RTE. Now we're in the big leagues. It's like, you know, now all the people, it's just depressing as hell is all. It's just, this country is just like constantly shifting the goalpost and moving things away from you, and I guess it's your fault for not being civil enough and kind of engaging in this tech sector bullshit. But anyhow, that's personal stuff out of the way. We got to talk about some of this because I got to hop off at a certain point. We got so much to talk about, but I guess we just hit the big stories, and the big one is Katherine ZaPWND.
Yes.
Have you been following that?
She is dead. Is she? Is that it? Has she died?
No. Speaking of make work positions that are created for friends, the government decided that Katherine ZaPWND could just approach Simon Coveney and be like, what about a fucking special envoy for free speech and I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, sure, whatever. Sounds good to me.
It's a real thing of like, we need a new holiday. Call it Love Day, but something better than that.
Happy Love Day.
Yeah. It's like, come up with something better. What is the official position?
Yeah, I'm going to look it up. But like, let me see now. What is official position? Special.
I mean, even
envoy.
her last one. Look,
she was Minister for Children.
No, she was Minister. Let me tell you. Let me tell you now.
Yeah. Are you going to be telling me the thing that I just said to you? Is that what's going to happen?
Let me tell you now in a minute.
Where the fuck is this? She was in the last one under Enda Kenny, and then a brief bit under Leo Varadkar. Here's my trajectory with Katherine ZaPWND. This is back when I was kind of basically a bit of a lib, all right? So there's a friend of mine who was working on her campaign, and I was really excited about the prospect of Katherine ZaPWND getting in, because I thought, like, she was an independent, she's a gay woman, there's something progressive about her, and so it was a real close finish. It was like in by the skin of her teeth, and everybody was like that, in this circle that I had, were like celebrating this thing. Yes, good. One of the good ones won. And then within about a week and a half, she had joined the government, and we're like, now I know it looks like I sold out every one of my principles just to cling on to power. And then she served in the government for about it's one of those things. It's better for me to be in the room as a great person rather than to be outside of it. And then clearly everybody loved that because she didn't get voted in again. And then she, tragically, her partner passed away. I was very sad. And then she moved back to America.
And she worked on Joe Biden's campaign.
That's what I was looking at. I was just like... And the other thing is, I should have known, because one of the things that they were showing, Michael McDougall has shown up to the Count Centre to support his good friend Katherine ZaPWND. And you're like, what? What? It's like, you have one of these moments where you're suddenly realizing, like, oh, this person's a fucking idiot. Like, I thought that they were somehow, like, I don't know, out there, I guess, or something. But anyway, like, that was a real activating moment when she joined the government, where I was suddenly like, oh, they all suck.
Yeah.
They all fucking suck.
It says here that she was former minister for children, equality, disability, integration, and youth.
Oh, okay.
That's
because it is funny though, because there's an article by Daniel McConnell, who I don't really like, but he wrote it for the Irish Examiner, and it's like basically talking about the response to this has been similar to, remember that article we were talking about, Simon McGarr, where he was saying that the electorate tells Fine Gael what they don't like, and Fine Gael are like, well, tough, this is it, and you'll vote for it no matter what, So they continue this trend by giving a kind of, a politician who's basically he's just breaking down in chronological order, she's not a very good minister, and here is why she is not a very good minister, and kind of brought up all these things which were kind of back before I was having to read this stuff every day and making my brain depressed. But anyway, yeah, I guess I just wanted to bring it up because ZaPWND arrived on the national play stage. Where is this? No, I'm trying to find the part where basically she was involved in the Maurice McCabe stuff.
Yeah.
Which is quite bizarre to me. I was like, it just goes to show how broad her remit is, that she would be kind of forced to I know it's because she's Minister for Children, and she was commenting on Tusla's involvement in this Maurice McCabe kind of smear thing. And but it is so interesting.
She sort of fucked it as well.
Yeah.
I can't remember the thing, when she was away, and then her department issued a statement without contacting her or something like that.
Yeah.
And then what?
No, yeah, it's something like that.
And then the whole thing blew up, and then she was like, I didn't see this until now because I just woke up because it's 6 o'clock in the morning here.
Yeah.
I can't remember her involvement apart from that.
Yeah, it's just, the whole thing is just, I don't know, I guess it's because I really wanted to believe at that time that it was like I said, I had friends who were going out and like knocking on doors in the rain to try and get this woman elected, and it's like, it really felt like a win. But then when you see all this stuff, it's like, she is exactly the same as all of these people. Not even like, even a tiny bit of difference, And because of this special envoy position that's been revealed, it's like all the stories are coming out, like her testifying at the Jobstown trial. And I had the transcript of it here, but apparently, basically what she was trying to say that it was a violent protest and there was no excuse for it. And then the people, the people who were representing the Jobstown, people, why do we keep saying whatever? They were basically saying, in your book, you supported the Stonewall riots. For the exact same reasons that you're now saying that you do not support the Jobstown riots, Jobstown protests or demonstrations. Do you not find that to be in contradiction with each other? And just like, she just kind of didn't have an answer and kind of squirmed her way out of it, essentially.
Right.
And then you have the other one that I saw was that she was also, she's based in New York now, which is how she apparently helped petition or advocate for Ireland on behalf of them getting on the UN Security Council.
Oh, right. Okay.
So it's like, God damn. And then the kind of payoff for that seems to be, can you give me a make-you-up job? And then they're like, it's not even make-you-up job. It's actually very important, and we do need this for the UN. And it's like...
Someone was like, sure, she'll only be doing a few hours a week or something like that.
Yeah.
Did you see that? Who said that?
I saw Emer Higgins say it's not even that much money. It's just like 15k or something.
Who's Emer Higgins?
She's like some absolute... Like, this is... how much of a melt she is, that she's the first person I've ever thought to call a melt on this fucking podcast. She's like some TD from Dublin Midwest. I'm looking it up here.
Right,
and she just goes on, big Leo kind of stan, and she's that type of like David McManus politician where she's like, Sinn Féin don't want housing. They're not a normal party. And, you know, just that type of grab baggy, headliney type of person, and that's it. It's just like, as usual. Do you remember when like they poured all of their money into James Gagan winning this? Like all the guns they had, like Coveney out there, they had Harris, they had Donoghue, they had Bruton, they had like everybody out there going about from. And then when he lost, it was like, well, happens. It's like, no, it doesn't. It shouldn't happen to you. And you're pretending that this is normal, and it's not normal. You know, and that's basically what's happening here. It's like, this isn't cronyism. This is just like one of the things that Pascal Donoghue literally said is, not that many people in cabinet still know her, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, how many? Because you're like, not that many, so it implies that there's more than one. And even if there's one, then that's still an advantage, especially when you don't even advertise the position that she's going to be running for in the public sector. And anyway, the point I was trying to get at with Emer Higgins saying, oh, it's only 15k, it's only something small, it's only something like that. It's like, you've seen like these single mothers who are just being completely destroyed by the states. Is that a toothbrush? Is that a toothbrush over there that I see? Whose car is that parked in the driveway? How do I know you're not getting... It's like 15k is a lot of money for some people when the state is coming after them, and it's not a lot of money then for somebody like you know, fucking this politician who the electorate has rejected.
Yeah. That's a good
so it's
point.
disgraceful. But she's just a thoroughly disappointing, underwhelming person, and it's crazy that I guess the government is, that Fine Gael are going to bat for it in such a way. I think it's just their arrogance as usual. It's not so much that they care about Katherine ZaPWND. It's when they're called out on something, they're like, how very dare you? We'll give money to whoever the fuck we want. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was... Apparently Simon Coveney gave some very stroppy interview, and people are saying that yeah, I guess that's the other thing I wanted to comment on is the fact that the response by people like Gavin Riley and the Hugh O'Connell and all these kind of journalists, as in they're just so gleeful about this. They love this story, you know, and the way that they talk about it is so... It just makes me kind of sick, just for the type of... Like, Gavin Riley's fine. He's no Richard Chambers.
Do you like Richard Chambers?
Yeah, I do, actually, despite myself.
Why?
I don't think I should like any journalist, frankly, but I think that Richard Chambers is like... He always manages to pull it back from the brink with cringe for me. He always manages to be, like, slightly... Like, he's not like Gavin Riley, where it's like, you know... while we're doing multiple quotes of The Simpsons this episode, but like, you know, the thing where like the puppy goes up to the TV like, oh, it's like, get that cat out of the way. Like, it's like Gavin Riley will be like, you know, or something like, I too also enjoy a Duff beer, and it's like, man's never drank a Duff in his life. He just seems like such a fucking nerd, whereas Richard Chambers seems just kind of chill, you know, like he doesn't really give a shit about people liking him on social media. He's just kind of an effortless personality. And also he's kind of dreamy. He's kind of good looking. I kind of want to be my boyfriend, if I'm honest.
Send him a podcast. You said he'd listen to it once.
Yeah, that was funny. You were like, please listen to our podcast. He's like, yes, I will. I was like, thank you, Richard Chambers. And then Gavin Riley's like, I'll listen to it. Get out of here.
Yeah, fuck off, Gavin. But he did say he'd listen to it.
He did, actually.
Send it to him now.
Yeah.
What did I say?
But what was the thing? Oh, yeah, but there was like Hugh O'Connell wrote about this, where like, I think this one really pissed me off, because it's the same thing where it's like journalists act like they're standing in the river of the news. They can't control what happens in the news, you know?
Yeah.
They just like, you know, it just goes around them, and they reach in and they pick out a bit of news and they show it to the people, but honestly, it's got a life of its own. So he's kind of talking about... So one of the things that happened is it was a leak, apparently, that Zappone was being... So the whole controversy is coming from the fact that Micheál Martin didn't know anything about it, and they're trying to pretend that that's normal, okay?
Yeah.
And so they're like, oh, yeah, it was a bit of a mistake, but anyways, we're over it now, and we'll trundle on, we'll keep going. And then it turns out, like... they planted some sort of story or something to try and lure out the leaker, okay? Which they managed to do successfully, okay?
Okay.
So they go like... They basically... You know, it's one of those things where... like... They told a story to one person.
Oh, yeah.
And then a journalist immediately contacted the press office.
I have a friend who used to do that. With just
really?
in the friend group. He'd like tell someone a story and be like, don't tell anyone. And then when someone mentioned it to him, he'd be like, that person is out of my life now. It was really dramatic.
Yeah. But what ended up happening was they literally said this. This was a fucking headline, which was they found out who... it was like a junior cabinet minister who had leaked, okay? Mm-hmm. And they actually had Leo Varadkar have a talk with him.
Really?
To be like, I don't think you should be leaking.
Yeah.
You know?
I know I do it. I know I'm your hero.
Yeah.
But I do it responsibly.
Yeah.
For me.
To advance my career. So, but, you know, you don't want to, you know, harm my career, do you?
Yeah. Yeah, I know you thought you were looking out for me, or at least I assume you were. I assume you love me and you don't want to hurt my career.
Yeah. But they're just kind of, oh yeah, no, it's fine, it's no big deal, it's just whatever. But anyhow, there was like some tweet I posted about it, because that's what I do. I fucking post, man.
When things get real, that's what you do. You post.
When the tough gets tough, the post gets posted, huh?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But something like that. But let me just pull this up. God, I post a lot of dumb shit. Fucking hell. So Hugh O'Connell goes, Foreign Affairs Minister Simon Coveney is facing an Oireachtas committee examination into the circumstances surrounding Katherine ZaPWND's UN envoy role. And then he ends it with, this will rumble on. And I fucking hate that. Huh?
Is it, read it again? It will rumble on.
This will rumble on, you know.
What the
and you know, like the way I was saying about Pat Leahy is like in the halls of Leinster House. These are the, you know, where they act like it's fucking House of Cards, where it's like, oh, this story is not going away anytime soon. Let me just tell you, like, there are murmurs, there are whispers. You can't turn your back in Leinster House because somebody put a fucking knife in it, you know? And it's like, they're all dumbasses. We literally, anytime you talk about Irish politics, like, you just really have to try to make Irish politics Machiavellian and sinister. It's just like the dumbest people in the world doing the most cooled off American bullshit, and then the media just loves it because it's just like what they do in the West Wing or something, you know. And they love stories like this in particular because they just it's just like little catty bitching kind of inter-party conflicts, you know.
Yeah.
And but the way that they talk about it, just this will rumble on. I don't know why but that's what I mean about the river thing, where it's just like,
no, that's pretty egregious. Like, this
will rumble on as it means like you're going to have to keep focusing on it, all your attention, all the things. Like as people pointed out, it was like the mother and baby homes leak. We'll never find out who leaked that paper.
That doesn't rumble on. Like.
No, that doesn't rumble on because it's not like some sort of tabloidy fucking shit that you guys can have in your little Leinster House knitting circles, you know?
Yeah.
It's exhausting. It's just these people who just look at the news as like the news, as opposed to actually documenting events that happen in the world and people's lives. It's become abstract. It's become something that's like, it's like fun. It's a job to them. You go to school to learn the news and how to say the news.
Well,
and,
that's it. They're just like, they treat it like drama, You know what I mean? So they're just like, enjoy the drama, and then the stuff that bums them out, they just quietly hide away, you know?
Yeah. But one of the things then that was released today was 50... so the whole thing was meant to be like, oh, we didn't really think about it, telling the Taoiseach. We were kind of blindsided by it. Won't happen again. And then it turns out they were like talking about it for months, do you know?
Really?
And then Leo Varadkar is like, well, I didn't know anything about it. And then it turns out he was at this event 6 days before the announcement, the leak happened, with Katherine ZaPWND invited him to an event of 50 fucking people at the Marriott Hotel or something like that. And Katherine ZaPWND has been quiet like the entire time, hasn't said anything, but now she's come out to kind of defend, no, the event didn't break COVID guidelines. And now she's gone back to being quiet again.
Yeah, that's all she has to say, basically. It's just...
Yeah.
I will not have any criticism of my party.
Yeah.
My birthday party.
Yeah, exactly. But, and this is one of the things where it's like... I'm not, low be it for me to quote Peadar Tóibín, but anyway, in this one he says, Aontú leader Peadar Tóibín said the Taoiseach's behaviour is a jaw-dropping mix of hypocrisy and cronyism. Right now, not all partners are allowed to attend births and key maternity appointments with mothers. Children around the country are being denied... Well, I'm not going to continue. The communion, yeah, they are. All those children clamouring for communions and confirmations. But basically, the birth one stands out, because that is, like, true. It's like... We keep talking about like restaurants and can we get indoor dining? Can we get all this shit going? And then you have this thing that's 50 people, all these government ministers who should know better than to even go to something like this. And then out of that, the person who hosted the party gets some fucking UN job that is just like may not be a lot of money for them, but they're not even doing that much work and they're getting paid that on top of whatever other bullshit that they do in the private sector. And yeah, it's exhausting, and I don't find it like Rebecca Vardy type drama where it's like they're like where will somebody please report to the principal's office? I've outed this leaker. It's like that's these journalists. Anyway, whatever. It's just such an egregious, disgusting thing, and there are these people just kind of prodding each other, going, "Do you see what they did? Do you see what they did? I bet you're mad about that." It's like Golfgate, isn't it? Do you see? It's like, fuck off. But anyway, there's an article in the Indo, apparently, written by Philip Ryan, and he mentions 3 times in the article, according to some tweet that I read, so take that with a grain of salt.
Was that today or yesterday?
Today.
Oh.
And he just said sorry, I got I'll tell you in a sec. So Philip Ryan made clear to say about the Taoiseach, like, he made very clear to figure out whether it was in violation of COVID guidelines and stuff, you know. And you're just like, why do you need to cover for this guy? You know? Yeah. Except that you wrote his biography, obviously you need to cover for him, but he's your man. So he's like, even though he checked a million times, it turns out that actually there are still some pedants out there who think that it's inappropriate to visit a former TD who was also a cabinet minister, and 6 days later she gets a cushy job, which is the subject of some controversy because the Taoiseach didn't know about it, and also he pretended not to know about it. It's just so blatant. It's quite... I mean, I don't know. Is it even worth giving out about papers anymore? Like, they're always going to disappoint.
Yeah, it's like the journalist class is always going to disappoint. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But anyhow, there you are. No, I got a message back in that group chat and it kind of broke my heart.
Why? What did they say?
I'm disappointed in you, Gareth. That's all I'll say.
No way.
Yeah. Anyway.
Just say you were only joking.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to say it now, but it looks like I'm backing out of it. I think what I'll do is what you said, to just record a voice note to make it personal. Just be like, oh, no, like, I want it to be clear. Like, I was messing there, do you know?
Yeah.
But anyhow, hopefully they'll believe me when I say it. But anyhow, that's it. Well, there's other stuff. There's loads of good stuff. But we're just coming up on the time. What time is it now?
54 minutes.
All right. Okay, let me see what I got. So that's the Zappone thing. There's not really much to say. I don't know if you saw, but like, there was like a wedding protest during the week that turned out to be completely fake.
Yes, that was really interesting because it was these four. It was like 4 women and a guy, and they were outside the door, and they were being like, "We can't get married the way we want, and how unfair is this?" And the newspapers just reported it like that was it, like just straight up. And then some guy on Reddit was like, "All these people are involved in the wedding industry in some way."
Yeah,
it's like either they run wedding planners or they like run a fucking flower thing. One guy ran a photography company, a wedding photography. Like, it was so weird. And
also, the reason that they got so much publicity is because of the contacts they had, that they were able to generate those people coming down there. And it's kind of meant to be like a kind of daft thing. It's like, look at these kind of crazy people doing this, you know, and that they're protesting for weddings when there's more important things that are happening, surely. And then it turns out, like, you know, obviously it's fake, but the thing that people were pointing out is there was another demonstration on the exact same day with significantly more people, which was slightly more important, you know. It was Dublin Bus. Did you see that thing?
No.
So like I don't know, I'm not trying to move away entirely, I'm just trying to say this thing. So basically it turns out that Dublin Bus are about to, or the union anyway, is about to vote on or the organizer, I don't know how it works, but essentially there is something being put forward which could change the working hours of people on Dublin Bus, okay?
Right.
So it was organised by the unions, or negotiation with unions, and so what ends up happening is that the bus drivers are getting more money, okay? But they just have to work a lot more on a variety of routes, and they're just like, I don't care about the money. I don't want to spend my life driving a fucking bus, you know? So they're like, I want to stick to the hours that I have. And it turns out this is some sort of raft of proposals that have been put forward to try and satisfy workers, because Dublin Bus is now having to go to tender for the routes that they have. Okay? So I try and figure out what this is about. I didn't really understand, but essentially, like, they're trying to privatize a bunch of the routes, and so Dublin Bus and Bus Éireann and all these people have to apply for them, and to show that they can do it they can be cost effective with it.
It's so
or
bad
whatever.
Because, like, I mean, look at what happened with their children's hospital. It's like,
I know.
They used the same bloody tender scheme, and they got the cheapest person. They wrote a bad contract themselves, and like, they just fucked it, and costs escalated. And they're just going to do the same thing here now, where they're going to go with the lowest possible bid. Yeah. And then it's just going to fuck it completely.
Yeah. Like, that's it. I mean, this is it. This is the whole point. And it's just like, it's this weird thing now where I remember years ago when the Lewis drivers and the bus drivers went on strike, and it was like they were looking for a bunch of money, and it was like, nurses don't even get paid that much, and I was like, well, maybe nurses should get paid more, and maybe you should give a shit enough of a shit about yourself to demand more from your job, you know, and get more money and stuff, and don't be putting these people down. Now it's the exact opposite. You see people, look at these idiots. They don't realize that they're getting more money. It's just they don't want the money. They want to actually live a life. It's like, what's the point of this money that you have if you can't actually spend it, like, on your family, on, you know, or people that you love and cherish.
You have more control over your working life, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't seem like a good situation for the government, or like the semi-state company, just to be like completely disrupting people's lives, and they clearly don't want it, you know?
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, like, I don't have any hope for this Dublin Bus thing, or like this private integration, because it's just like, surely there's so many routes that aren't very profitable. Yeah. But are still useful to run in the country. So it's like, it just feels like, look at what happened in England, you know?
Oh, big time.
Where they privatised the train companies and just completely fucked the rail system.
Yeah.
And So
I mean, just any time you involve the private sector and stuff like this, it actually doesn't make it more efficient. It makes it more expensive and more miserable for everybody.
That's it.
You know?
Yeah, and cuts off like stuff that people need, but isn't profitable.
Exactly. Like that's why it takes me 4.5 hours to get to Kilkenny from Galway. You know what I mean? It's like, no, there's no profit to be made taking people. Like even just having one bus service that services like areas, or you know, when you look at those two pictures of like what train services used to be like in Ireland versus present day, and it's just like
actually my mum made an interesting point, and you know that there's that famous picture, and it's like how trains were better at one point. Anyway, those train lines only existed for about 60 years.
Yeah.
They were sort of like an experiment that just wasn't profitable.
Right, yeah.
So it's not like we historically had this great rail service. It's like there was an experiment in infrastructure, and it just wasn't profitable, or it just wasn't affordable. I mean, sure. I mean, that's just one. I mean, we used to have an incredible tram system in Dublin, and I don't know, it was a corporation or the government just ripped it all up for no reason.
Yeah.
Like there used to be a tram that would bring you from the city centre out to like Bray.
Yeah.
All this sort of stuff. Out really far. And they just ripped it all up for no reason. Just because they were like, cars are better. You know? It's just, again, I don't know. It's just, like you say, anytime you get the private sector involved in this sort of public good, it just always fucks it.
Also, to just atomize people and leave them kind of feeling completely... One of the things that I saw during the week was like... I got really annoyed by this comment on Twitter, as I'm wont to do. But it was about like... It was some fucking like David McWilliams type fanboy who was going on about like... you know, there's like single occupancy households, you know, where it's like basically co-living, but like one apartments that are going to be unaffordable, affordable, whatever. It's all this thing. But he did the classic thing of like Sinn Féin voting down these houses because they're not like family homes. And he's like, I guess houses for some, not for all.
Yeah.
It's like some people want to live in a shoebox like that. Why don't you let them? It's like you're just missing it entirely. It's like it's amazing how it happened. Like years and years ago, it was like these are temporary solutions to a housing crisis that's ongoing. Now they're permanent solutions to a housing crisis that's ongoing. And it's this thing where it's like, do you not realize how you're being tricked constantly, and what you want is becoming smaller and smaller and smaller? Do you know, or like what you're being allowed to have, essentially. Do you know, it's like, I'm not about purity politics. We deserve to, you know, have a, you know, 2x2 space that we stand up in. You know? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But anyway, man, that message really upset me. I've actually got like upset.
No, it's sort of the note rattled me. All right.
Yeah. And especially because now there's somebody in Screen Skills Ireland who's in that group chat, and it looks like I'm going like, they're at it again. Can't get a decent job for a working man in this town, you know. And I'm just like, no, I don't think that at all. But I really shouldn't have said that. I think it was just early in the morning. I thought, fuck it. But yeah, I guess that was it. It was like the bus thing doesn't get commented on at all, but then the 4 people who have access to media people can turn a non-protest about weddings that was just a lobbying effort into something that actually takes up a lot of air on the news waves. And on the news waves, one of the other things is, I better get off this extra shit. This is just a funny one, and it's only irrelevant because we're talking about demonstrations, but there's a very funny video of hundreds of, like about 150 people or something, like a sizable amount of people, maybe like a few hundred, gathered outside the Temple Bar. Did you see that?
For the skateboarding thing.
Yeah, this guy was like skateboarding, and the bouncers like kicked him off. Bouncers and staff were calling.
3 kids beat the shit out, or 3 bouncers beat the shit out of 3 kids.
Yeah.
And then loads of skateboarders turned up to protest. Was that it?
And they just went and stood outside the Temple Bar, going, "Come out and say sorry," chanting it. And it's like, hell yeah. I hope this is like maybe the start of something in many ways. That the amount of times we're seeing people coming together and things, and it's all shit, but like at least there's kind of this idea that, okay, we're actually mad about something, and maybe there's going to be like a culture of protests after this. You'd hope, you know?
Yeah, that'd be cool, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I also, confirmation that Dan's mixtape is in fact a fascist. He was like going, well done to everybody who showed up to the anti-vax march last week, and talking about how brave they were and how they were out there and how the media couldn't ignore them no matter how much they tried. And I was just like, oh, okay. No ambiguity anymore. We know Dan's mixtape.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. But anyhow, we'll have to do the thank yous later. But another announcement to make is we're going to take some time off of the podcast. We're going to freeze the Patreon, so you won't be paying anything. And if money leaves your account, well, we'll figure it out. We'll get it back to you. But we're going to take a month off because digesting the news nonstop for about a year and a half has been incredibly draining and unpleasant. I can't say that I might end up throwing some little clips up every now and again just because you have a stray thought that I don't want to tweet or something, you know? But I don't even know if I'll do that. I'm just saying it mightn't be completely empty, the Patreon.
Probably, if you freeze it probably will.
I think you can freeze payments and still post.
Oh, really? And people can still access them? All right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, take the month, you know? Don't be
maybe.
feeling like you have to put something up.
Yeah, because I kind of was like, I need to do some soul searching here.
Yeah. These are mushrooms.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, that's it. And hopefully there'll be other good stuff to come in the I don't know what I'm trying to say. How do you wrap it up? Not really.
No, you don't. You just leave it hang.
Okay, cool. So let's do the thank yous to the patrons. I'll record that later because I got to jump off.
Cool. All right, I'll let you go then.
All right, I'll talk to you then.
Bye.
Bye. So we're back. Patreon.com/Celtic Ligers. $5 a month gets you a bonus episode each week. You also get your name read out on the podcast. Unless you don't want to have it read out, then just send us an email and we won't do it. Or get us on Twitter, or get us on socials, or whatever, you know. We'll be gone for the next month. This is just to sort of regroup and get our bearings together. I think we're getting kind of tired. And also, the summer's back, baby. Hadn't you heard? Just stick your head out the window. Get some rays or rain or whatever. But either way, we're vaxxed and ready to F. So everybody's been hanging out. And we just want to enjoy a little bit of August. Then we'll come back refreshed. But yeah, the news is a fucking hell of a drug. And it's not always been fun reading and digesting it weekly for a podcast. So we're figuring it out. It should be good. But yeah, no, I enjoy the stuff that we do. But sometimes you need a fucking break. Now, to thank those patrons. So no need, I guess, to subscribe to the Patreon this month because we will be suspending the payments or making sure that people don't get charged for this one, I think. I don't know how it works. We'll figure it out. But you won't be charged for this month as we are not producing content. Okay, here we go. Relationship Manager, I have it open here. So we're going to thank the patrons. The theme this week will be Space Jam Legacy. So it'll be kind of just random assorted properties from people. Okay? All of the pop cultural detritus that I can remember. Up first is Ben. That's Ben Kenobi from Star Wars. That's owned by Disney now. Thank you, Ben. Zainab Lotfi, that's going to be Zap Brannigan from Futurama, which is now also owned by Disney. Sean Donnelly, that's Sean from Shaun of the Dead, who's probably also owned by Disney, and maybe we could see him in the background in Space Jam going, come on and slam, and welcome to the of the Dead. Kevin Larney, so that's Kevin James, who's also owned by Disney. And a bit of the theme song is his eyes are getting weary, his back is getting tight. He's sitting here in traffic on the Queensborough Bridge tonight. But all he wants to do is cash his check and drive right home to you. Baby all his life, he will be driving home to you. That's Kevin Larney who's doing that, not Kevin James. Imagine that. Imagine Kevin Larney from the famous podcast. Good Lord. Good God, Niles. Why am I can't remember the name? I think it's Shite Talk. Is that it? Seems like it's not very algorithm friendly. There we go. Shite Talk, an Irish history podcast. And you got another one, Frasier, in there for good measure. But imagine him from the Shite Talk podcast, and he's in King of Queens, which apparently was a spin-off of Everybody Loves Raymond. Although James disputes this, James Moran, so you can check that out for yourself. Podcast Naherin, okay. What about Dennis Rodman Naherin? And he's just a Cougie basketball player who's owned by Disney. Mickey Finn, well, I don't think we need to, certain other character owned by Disney. That's, of course, Mickey Blue Eyes. Mickey Blue Eyes from the movie, Hugh Grant, the movie. Benson is up next. I don't know why I'm thinking of this, but Benson and Stitch. Pence and Stitch. So it's like Lilo and Stitch, except it's Ben, who's from earlier, and it's Benson and Stitch. Okay. Francis Breen. And this is Francis the Breen, which are from Star Trek. And of course, Star Trek is owned by, you guessed it, Walt Disney. Simon Akers, of course, that's Jakers, the popular TV show, which I mentioned in a previous thank you. That's owned by Disney now as well. And Jakers is on the sidelines cheering on Mickey Mouse as he plays a game of fucking tic-tac-toe with Darth Vader. So, Mark Stokes. What about Mark Croaks? And it's the Croaks of that frog from Looney Tunes who's called Benjamin Netanyahu Frog. What's he called? The frog from Warner Brothers? And he sings, "My eyes are getting weary, my back is getting tight. I'm sitting here on traffic on the Queensboro Bridge tonight." Michigan J. Frog. Okay, so that's you, Mark Croaks. Mark Maloney. I'm thinking of a guy that I knew in school called Chris Maloney, and he's, of course, owned by Disney, and he could be seen in the latest Space Jam movie, looking really disappointed when Algie Rhythm scores a basket or something that you do in basketball. Blahin de Burka. So it's Spalding Gray de Burka. Okay, I do not know what Spalding Gray is. What's Spalding Gray? I don't know what it is, but I do know that it's owned by Walt Disney, and that is the actor Spalding Gray, who is famous for appearing in Swimming to Cambodia, Monster in a Box, Grey's Anatomy from 1996, so not the TV series. So that's you. You're Spalding Gray de Burka. That's my favorite one. Alan Carr, who's owned by Disney and last featured in, I bet you thought I was going to say Space Jam, A New Legacy, but no, I was going to say Ready Player One. He was running alongside Chucky the doll while they were attacking the Iron Giant, probably, and they were like, he was like, "Ooh," or doing some sort of carry-on thing that he does, you know. Is that Alan Carr? Stephen Bradley, no alteration needed. Stephen Bradley, bought and paid for by the fucking House of Mouse. Boycott him if you can, if you see his name on a poster or somewhere. Stephen Bradley was, of course, famously in Wreck-It Ralph 2, and he was hanging out with, I don't know, fucking a stormtrooper and Homer Simpson. Richard Zimmerman. God damn, I know this is an oldie, but it's still a goodie. The idea of doing Bob Zimmerman, and it is Bob Dylan is now owned by Warner Brothers, and he's on the sidelines. So Porky Pig is doing a rap against him, and he is going, how many rules must the woodwork did? And then that's and everybody's baffled. Everybody's confused. Actually, it's not even Bob Dylan. It's fucking what's his face? Give me a Speedy Gonzales. Bridget Purcell. This one always throws me because all I can think of is frigid and power cell or Purcell detergent. Those are the three words that come into mind, and I don't ever want to use them again. Okay, here we go. A rigid carousel, okay? And this is the carousel after it's been brought to a halt in Strangers on a Train, which is, of course, now owned by HBO Max, who are owned by Warner Brothers. And you see Guy Haynes, I think is his name. I'm going to Google that. I bet you. I hope I'm right. Yeah. Oh. He's in James Bond. Guy... because I remember his name is Guy, because I thought that was really stupid. Strangers on a Train. It's Riders on the Storm, except his name is Guy Haynes. Okay, so Guy Haynes is on the rigid carousel. It's just... and he's watching from the sidelines, and he's just seeing the Bugs Bunny do a slam dunk, and he's like, yay! I don't know. Yeah. And the famous lighter is there as well, the MacGuffin. Milky Fox. That's the fox from the famous Tex Avery cartoon Outfox featuring Droopy Dog. Okay, and owned by MGM. And MGM, well, that was like a Hanna-Barbera cartoon. No, it wasn't. That was MGM. MGM was Hanna-Barbera. I don't know now. So you're the fox from Outfox, which used to be my favorite cartoon. Still might be. I really like it. There's a bit with bricks. Very good. Very funny. And also Droopy, can you beat that voice? Very funny character. Kyle O'Neill, obviously Kylo Ren, but let's keep it out a bit. Let's just do something else with that. What about Tip O'Neill? Okay. Right? Do I? So Tip O'Neill, famous House, was he House Majority Leader? Was an American politician who served as the 47th Speaker of the United States House of Representatives from 1977 to 1987, representing northern Boston, Massachusetts as a Democrat from 1953 to 1987. So Tip O'Neill, he's on the sidelines, and Taz the Tasmanian Devil has just been fouled by a really bad-looking CGI version of some NBA player who I don't know. So, and LeBron James has made a face because they've spent the whole day. They record him doing things like saying, "Oh damn" and "oof" and so they can kind of just drop them in wherever throughout the thing. And it took him 2 days to record, and he made $1 billion. Okay, Connor Barry. Okay, and it's Mark McSherry, Fianna Fáil TD. Who is in he's owned by Warner Brothers, and he appeared in the Lego movie because of the Lego Mark McSherry, the figures that took off there, and he's in the background going something like, it'll be like, "The chosen one is here to protect and save us," and then Chris Pratt's character goes, does anybody have something to pick up my shit that I did on the floor? And then Mark McSherry's like, "We're screwed." It's something like that. Classic little deflation joke. So Liam McCartan, Liam McCartan is like Liam McLovin, and then it's just McLovin, and he's in he's with one of the Ghostbusters and he's going like little help over here. One of the lady Ghostbusters, I should clarify. And he's covered in ectoplasm. So, and then make some sort of joke about like, we'll get all this ectoplasm off you, and he goes, yeah, ectoplasm. Except he wouldn't be even allowed to make that joke now because they need it for all audiences. Claire O'Neilan, that'll be Claire O'Toolon, and it's the band Tool. Okay, so the band Tool are watching fucking LeBron James just destroy his son in a game of basketball. That's the plot of the movie, and and Tool are like just rocking out, having a good time. Ronan Carey, that'll be Jim Carrey, and he's going, somebody stop me, but he's dressed as his character from Liar Liar, because I just want to remind you that they own all of those movies. And he's dressed, he's like Two-Face. He's dressed as a normal lawyer who just loves his kid but kind of can't make enough time for him, and the other half is Ace Ventura, and he's going, somebody stop me from not going in there and using the pen that is blue-red. I don't know what color he says. So that's you. And Neve Kelly. And I'm not going to say Ned Kelly or Martin Shkreli, but also both of those people would be very funny to see in the background of Space Jam, The New Legacy. Oh my god, okay. Neve Telly Savalas, okay, and it's Kojak, and they're like the ball goes in and it just bounces off his head, and they've won, and he goes, who loves you, baby? And then he removes his lollipop and gives it to Tweety Bird, and Tweety Bird's like, and I thought that I was bald. Sorry. Paulie Doyle, that's the Skrull and Boyle, okay? So Skrull are the characters who appear, who previously could only be referenced obliquely in Marvel stuff due to complicated rights issues. But now the Skrull are coming back, baby. They featured in Captain Marvel. Some acquisition happened, who the fuck knows. I think that they bought back a bunch of properties from Fox, because Fox were just like hanging on by their fingernails. They're like, all right, we'll sell you Daredevil, and we'll sell you Ghost Rider, and we sell you the Punisher. So they had that. And in that mix, they also had the Skrull. So previously, the Kree were the villains that they used because they were the ones that they had, and it's like, whatever, we just need some monsters for the Hulk to beat up. So the Kree were the ones who were involved in, they're like blue-blooded monsters. You know that there's like Ronan the Accuser. Fuck, sorry, Ronan, should have done that. Ronan the Accuser watching the most powerful creature in the universe, a white woman, as she destroys an entire armada of spaceships, but yeah, for some reason can't kill Thanos. Whatever. Also join the military. Remember to make stuff for NORAD, because we need scientists, because fuck yeah, science. I fucking love science, okay? Anyway, what am I talking about? So the Skrull are like the one that Ben Mendelsohn plays. He plays a Skrull, and he's like, there's a show called Secret Invasion that's coming out that has fucking Olivia Colman in it. I mean, come on, lady, you don't have to do this. My friend one time called Marvel movies are like military service for celebrities, you know. Mandatory, they're like conscription. So, but anyway, So you got the Skrull, and they're in Boyle in County Roscommon, okay? And Chris O'Dowd's there, and he was, of course, in Thor: The Dark World, which he famously forgot that he was in. And he's going, God, look at all these bloody Skrull, they're shape-shifting aliens. I'm a freaking Irish lad who does a very bad American accent. A very bad one indeed, Moss. Bad show, cancelled. Although Richard Ayoade is good, obviously. So anyway, that's it. You're the Scrolly Doyle. You're in Boyle. Something there. Now, for Joe Joyce. And immediately I just thought of James Joyce being acquired by, I don't know, let's mix it up a bit. Let's say Paramount acquire it and then eventually get bought by Disney. And as Jack Allison points out, AT&T own Warner Brothers, so soon a telephone company is going to own pretty much all the entertainment that we consume. And they're just going to put it out there and show it to you. And so it'll be like, what do we have? What do we have here? What can we do? It's like, fuck, we have James Joyce. Can we do like a big reboot of The Dead? That's what it is, isn't it? James Joyce. And it's going to feature all your favorites. It's not just going to be... We're going to expand the James Joyce universe so it contains all sorts of things. Maybe it could contain Bugs Bunny as well, you know? And what about like a Muppet version of the Dubliners? And of course, they all are in... It's like a Muppet version of the Dubliners, but also they have to play a game of basketball for some reason. Jeez, I wish I knew a single thing about James Joyce other than he likes the smell of his wife's farts. Maybe Kermit is like James Joyce and he loves the smell of Miss Piggy's farts, you know? Okay, I'll give you another one with Joe Joyce. So, it's Bo Burnham and something Joyce Hayward. For some reason I think of that. Well, who's Joyce Hayward? She is my old doctor in Clarenbridge. So so both of those people are owned by Walt Disney or a mixture of Disney and Warner Brothers, just whatever, one of the three companies, and they're all on the sidelines. Bo Burnham and Joyce Hayward are just like having a bit of a laugh. They're like, did you see that? And he said, see it? I'm a doctor. And they're the two commentators of the basketball game. They've been sucked into it from the real world. The algorithm has taken them in from the real world to up the stakes. And I mean, you think that Bo Burnham is like, nah, he's not a big enough star to feature in this. But like, literally... I guess spoiler alert for Space Jam: A New Legacy, but there's a bit in the middle where they basically go, I found Michael Jordan and he's going to coach us to victory. And then it turns out that it wasn't the right Michael Jordan, it was Michael B. Jordan. And I was just thinking about, like, I already knew that, like, there was a movie Trainwreck with Amy Schumer and she had like a bunch of basketball players in it, and you just have this feeling where it's like the arrogance of like of people in America. I mean, obviously they only have to cater to people in America, but ultimately it's like, you know, Peep Show can't really go over there because nobody knows what a fucking Bovril is. But over here it's like they have an entire movie just filled with like people, like it's not like I know who LeBron James is, but the rest of the people, it's like I don't know who they are. Okay, they are not a draw for me, these basketball players. Maybe people watch it, but I'm just wondering, like, we looked up with Space Jam and it turned out that there was multiple times attempts over the years to kind of reboot it. And I'm kind of ultimately glad that they kind of stuck with basketball, especially with your man, what's his face? Ryan Coogler. He definitely has better things to be doing, but he produced it kind of saying like, oh no, it was kind of important to me that there was like a franchise led by a black man, basically in the mid-90s, and even though he's like the biggest star on the planet at that time, Michael Jordan makes more sense than, maybe not as more sense than LeBron James, but anyway, the point I'm getting at is that, like, I get it, but ultimately, like, the other reboots that were planned of Space Jam would apparently, if Wikipedia is to be believed, be either like, one of them was golf with Tiger Woods, and one of them was like skateboarding with Tony Hawk. But I thought that, I don't know, like a different sport would be cool. And yeah, just to relate back to the kind of weird focus on America, it's like if you had Looney Tunes playing football, soccer, whatever you want to call it, it would just clean up in South America. I don't know if anybody's familiar, but there's like Top Cat and Woody Woodpecker things that just make an absolute bomb down there. It's like, doesn't matter what they're saying, who gives a shit. For some reason, those characters are huge. I think the Looney Tunes and cartoons in general like that would just be like, I think, you know, you'd have like most of Europe, you'd have America. Well, you wouldn't really have America, would you? So I guess that's the problem. You know, I don't think it was worth waiting about 20 years for. And whenever they talk about like other NBA players, oh yeah, that was it. No, it was with Michael B. Jordan. It's like, oh yeah, the famous Michael B. Jordan who played like Killmonger in Black Panther, and he was in Chronicle, and he was in that Fahrenheit 451 show, and he played Wallace in The Wire. I'm just saying, like, is there some kid who's there going, or is there a parent who's going, oh, that's funny? Because I was watching it in a cinema in Oranmore, and I was like, everybody was just confused by that. They're like, I guess that's a guy who's also called Michael Jordan. It's like, just the sort of arrogance to make a joke like that, and to just protect American audience from stuff. It's like, I'm sure they can figure out these references from context clues, like I did. Like, we just have to presume that that's Michael Jordan, but just like, it's just annoying. It's like, again, it's just one of the many people and things that they own that they can trot out there and be like, look, there's Sarah Silverman for no reason. There's fucking, God, what's his last name? I thought his first name was Ken. Oh God, no, it wasn't. Who's the guy who played the guy with the hat in The Walking Dead? Glenn? His name is Glenn Rhee. Glenn Rhee. So anyway, Stephen Wen is there, and you just feel like, yeah, we got him. They'll come here. We have the money. We can pay them. It's fine. But yeah. Anyhow, I don't know why I went on for like that. Look, we're going to take a break now. Month long, we'll freeze the Patreon, the Patreon, and I guess just like, I might put up little sporadic updates, but I'm going to try and take it easy from politics, because as you might have heard in the middle, I'm having somewhat of a breakdown, being confronted by like how unfair everything is in this country, and just by consuming this stuff every day and getting angry about it. Might even take some time off Twitter. Anywho, thanks for listening. Hopefully have more stuff soon. Bye.